I'm here with Director of College Scouting, Tariq Ahmad. Tariq, this is one of your bigger events of the year. Can you talk us through what a week in your shoes at the 2023 NFL Combine is like?
Yeah, it's definitely a busy week. It's an awesome week. You know, we put a lot of work to get here. There's a lot of preparation, a lot of time spent during the fall visiting schools, going to all-star games, a lot of meetings. And then we get here and it's a culmination of everything. We see everyone on the field performing.
So I know obviously the physical tests bear a lot of weight, but one thing that General Manager John Lynch said is the highlight of this whole process is that interview process with 45 prospects. Can you go into a little bit of detail about what that entails?
Sure. So, I mean, yeah, we love everything on the field, and it's a very important part of this. But we can also get that on tape. The one thing that we can't get is that authentic meeting that we have with those 45 prospects, where we get John Lynch, Adam Peters, Austin Moss, Justin Shabbat, all of our college scouts in there communicating, sometimes being face-to-face for the first time. So that's an extremely valuable part of this.
With so much media training available these days, how does that kind of change the game in terms of that interview process with prospects to truly genuinely break the ice with them?
No, that's a great question, because every year they do get more media training. The NFL has specific rules of when we're allowed to start communicating, when that process begins. So they get a lot of training before that. We get our first contact at All-Star games, and then this is the second main contact that we get.
And so the 49ers are in a similar draft position as last year, where the picks start in round 3, no first round pick, no second round pick. So how does that kind of affect the approach to the combine and free agency, because you are looking for those late round gems?
Yeah, I think it's our job to know everyone. Our job is to place an emphasis on everyone that we could select. So we can't just focus on guys that would only be in the third round, but with 3 third-round picks, we better be experts in that area.
Is there, kind of a strategy that you guys use in terms of best available when you're actually drafting, or how exactly does that work? Or are you solely focused on positions of need, or is kind of a balance of both?
It's definitely a balance of both, right? We want to add the most talent to the roster every opportunity that we can. Right now what we're talking about is the draft. There's pro free agency coming up. It's finding the best possible pieces to add the most value to our roster.
And so as Director of College Scouting, I think it's important to note that your job begins years before on these prospects. So typically, when do you identify a prospect as being someone that you could potentially be interested in? How far back does that go exactly?
Sure. So we feel pretty confident about everyone who's draft eligible, that we've evaluated those prospects, so we're aware of what's out there. That list clears up throughout the year as people decide that they're returning to school or make a statement that they're coming out. But like you're saying, even before that, we have preliminary lists that have started on next year's class that we'll be working on throughout the spring.
And so I think last year just is a huge testament to being able to identify talent in the later rounds. Can you speak to just how impressive that 2022 draft class ended up being?
Yeah, I think we're happy with the initial results on what was on the field this year. Then we're even more excited about the future. I think a lot of those guys showed great talent in the preseason and throughout the fall with what they've done on the scout team, and they've given us little pieces of what we expect to see, of the excitement that we could see in the future.
So with the 2022 draft class, saw a lot of production on the field. It's your job to know everything about these prospects as they come through the combine and the draft process. Was there anybody that just exceeded expectations in 2022?
Sure. I think the obvious answer is Brock. I mean, he had such a great year. I think we all loved him. We all thought he was going to be a really talented player, and we saw that in the preseason. We saw that when he first stepped on the field, but then he did exceed all expectations throughout the year.
Yeah, that late season run was something. Can you take us actually through the combine and where your team is located throughout the physical tests, and then also what that interview room looks like?
Yeah, so I mean, the combine really started for us on Sunday. for the video guys, they got out here Saturday to set up everything, make sure our 2 meeting spaces are fully prepared. And then on Monday, we start with our interviews. We had interviews Monday night, Tuesday night. We had them this morning already. They'll be again tomorrow, or again tonight, and then in the morning and in the evening of Thursday. But then throughout the event, the field coordinator is Justin Shapid, our assistant director, who does an amazing job with everything on that field, making sure all the drills flow smoothly. We have people on the 3-cone, the vertical, the 40 that are all assisting on the field, and then people that help with the groups. So everyone's all over, and then we have 2 meeting rooms set up. We have one for our formal interviews, and then we have one for the timing of the events.
And I've always wondered this, are all the questions coming generally from John Lynch and Adam Peters, or is it an all hands on deck kind of interview situation, if you're allowed to disclose?
No, sure. Yeah, no, I think we do a ton of great prep leading up to these. So everyone that's in those meetings have a good idea of what we're trying to get out of those meetings. And then it's John Lynch and Adam Peters really empower our entire group to ask whatever questions that you feel like you want to get answers for in those meetings. So everyone has confidence to ask questions.
Generally speaking, what does it take to be a scout? Because I think there is this kind of working idea that you have to be a former player in order to do it. And I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, I totally agree with you. The number one thing that I look for with college scouts is someone who is extremely passionate about being a great scout. If you're passionate, you can learn everything else. We have a ton of people that are going to train you, teach you exactly how to do it. And then if you have that excitement, enthusiasm to be a great scout, you can definitely do it.
And I know we talked about this before we started rolling, but the draft is your Super Bowl in addition to the Super Bowl. So where does this event rank in terms of just the prospect evaluation process that goes throughout the year?
I would say that this is probably number 3. So the draft is number 1. I would say draft meetings leading up to the draft, that's number 2, because those are exciting and those are a lot of fun. It's 3 hard weeks, but it's everyone working together to get to that one common goal, which is the draft and to add value to our roster. And this would be number 3 right behind it.
All right, and we'll just close this off. What is your very favorite thing about the draft?
Not to sound cliche, but it's everyone being together for a week. We got a great department. We got a great collaboration within our department, but everyone's in a different region. They're all over the country. They're at different all-star games. They're in different schools, different college games. This is when the entire group gets to come together and be together for a week.
All right, well, I know you have a busy week, so we're going to let you get to it and have fun evaluating all 319 prospects we have here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.